Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain. Alright, so in this video here, we are going to be doing some quests out in the 12. Now you can access the 12 from the marketplace or from the airship like so. And once here, there will be quests just on the side, so I'll show you from both entrances. So if you come from the airship, you'll pop out right here. However, if you came from the market, these are the gates right here. There's also, sorry about that, there's also an entrance from Lord's March Plaza, which is right over there. Alright, so once you're in, you want to pass under these giant gates and head left. Once we get to the top here, we'll see a bunch of people, as well as a guy who can actually teleport us. That's for a different quest there, but all four of these people here, these are quests that we can do at this level. So we're just going to start with this one here and just jump right in. So this one is kind of a big deal. Now, I actually really enjoy these quests. These aren't overly that old. And each one's got like their own unique little mechanic to them. So I don't want to give any spoilers about this one, but this one's probably one of my favorite out of the four here.
Inside Nimue tower. The wizard gives you a worried look and beckons you over. Nimue casts a spell to send you to the nearby village.
Alright, so one thing to point out is because she is casting that spell to teleport us, if we don't summon a hireling first, at this point we are too far away from the start location for you to be able to summon that hireling, so won't actually let you summon a hireling if you don't do it right at the beginning. Alright, so the first thing to do, there isn't really anything to look at in this village, it's just got a whole bunch of people, and that's it. But we need to talk to this person here, and he lets us know of the kobolds. At which point, these gates we can open up, and out here we have kobolds to deal with. So the first one is right over there. Alright. So that one's done. Now we have one further in. Alright. And bear in mind that they do have wolves. And as I'm sure you're well aware, wolves are actually fairly decently strong creatures for the level that they're usually in. So just watch yourself. Alright. So once we're done that, we need to proceed a little bit further east and head into deeper into the path here. Alright. So I'm just going to give myself a quick top up heal here. Alright. So now that we've killed all of them, we got to continue progressing this direction. And that'll get us into the Kobold Warren. Before we do, however, we have to fight this massive,
Valagar against
massive
your
spider.
fight bars your path. This creature radiates powerful magic and clearly poses a major
And
threat
as
to
you can
your
see, it really is absolutely massive. It brings to mind movies like Eight-Legged Freaks, where they're just
With
ridiculously
the
big.
spider defeated, you look
So if you
around
do
to
have a
see
fear of
where this
spiders,
gargantuan
you
creature
know,
came from. You spot
warning.
the entrance to a cavern up
Mind you, it's a little
above.
too late now at that point. From there, what you want to do is climb up the wall and just hug the wall here. You'll pass by the shrines and just keep heading up. There will actually be a path further in up top to continue. Now, inside of this
You
cave,
enter
it'll
the
be
cavern.
just like the
These
spider.
gigantic demons expect
Random
return to
enemies that are just
your original
big for no
form.
reason. Now, there is a trick here. As you can see, they're not all coming at us. If you if you are a ranged character, you can actually manually target them and then be able to shoot them one at a time rather than having them all come at you at once. And then once you hit them, you actually are able to hard target them. That's a trick that I employ in a lot of
Something's
quests.
causing the
This
creatures
one
in
does
the
have a few
wall
spots
to
where you can
grow
do
to
that,
an
making
enormous
these fights
size.
real easy due
Perhaps
to the
the
fact that you can bring them on
artifacts.
one at a time. Though when it's a situation like this where you can already target them, it does mean as soon as you hit one, they're all gonna come. So, and you know, realistically speaking, just as the guys are larger, they do walk faster and move faster towards you, which will be evident. You'll get to see that in action coming up in a bit with some of the other enemies here as well. Such as these rats, like they were on us in a matter of moments. Like it's all right. So the next thing to do is obviously we head upwards, and we can head to this giant door here. Now we do have a little lever that we can pull to let us in, and again proceed deeper inside. Oh, there's a famine reaver. Alright, so continuing deeper yet, we should come up to this hall here. Now this hall is actually trapped. Um, as you can see, the trap isn't too hard to avoid. Just kind of walk around it, not a big deal. They have a second one here on this side, and it is essentially the same thing. However, as you notice, we can't actually access that control panel without standing up here. And it is really actually kind of hard to get to a spot where you can get the trap without actually being hit by the trap itself. So kind of just be careful when you're jumping up here. If you're too far this way, you will get hit. So you just got to kind of basically stand on the very edge of this brazier. Once again, teeny tiny lever for giant door. Alright, so you'll notice the guys that are dancing, we can't actually target them yet with using our tab targeting. It does mean, as you see, when we pulled these guys here, they didn't actually move. There's a rem chest. So we will be able to manually target them and kill them off one by one. You know, I definitely employ that tactic whenever possible. It does make for a little bit easier combat. If you do approach them, however, they will also just auto become aggressive towards you, which is why I choose to shoot them one at a time. I just find it easier on myself, less chance of anything going wrong. Alright, so this room here, with the water, it has a lot of traps in it, though only one we can actually disable. What I generally do is, as you can see, I take out the enemies there from a little bit from afar, and I'll come up here, which allows me access to be able to see most of the other enemies. There are still some left, and as you can see, again, all these arrow traps all over the place, so you just gotta watch yourself here. Generally speaking though, if you are just in the water, you can swim right underneath everything and not have to worry. I hop up here where these kobolds were, and I can see and take out the rest of our enemies here. Or at least all but two. Now, here is the one trap that you can disable. And what it does is it just gives you a small little landing spot to be able to stand and safely shoot from a little bit closer. But again, not necessarily required. You can just swim past. You know, easily avoiding these traps as they shoot well above the water. Alright, from here, pull the lever, continue deeper in. Alright, so as you can see, when you drag them into the water there, they will despawn. I'm gonna... No, that might not be good. Alright, well I got the champion wolf and the other giant. Alright. And that's one thing with this quest, like, the halls are usually really long, and the enemies are at the end of the hall. So it does give you a decent amount of time to, you know, set up some defenses if you're gonna set anything up, or anything like that. Alright. And another rem chest. Alright, and as you can see, at the end of some of these tunnels, right before a turn, they have a pile of breakables. That's pretty much how the breakables are located in this quest. They're just giant piles every now and then. Alright. So for this part, what's actually going to happen is up top there, he's going to spawn a boulder, and they're going to actually roll it towards us. Now we can choose to try and kill it, as they are targetable. However, as you can see, they do roll by pretty quickly, making it hard to break them all. We did manage to get the one, but that was it. So if you have a full party, it might be a little bit easier. But again, you don't necessarily have to. As you see, they just break against the wall and that's it. So if you walk forward enough for them to start rolling, you can back on out, just let them break against the wall. Problem solved. Alright, from here we have one more big door. Alright. Now at this point it does, as you see, break off into several directions. The way that we need to go is through this door here. Now this will be our last big main door that we have to go through. However, if we choose to head south, and head south first, there is actually an optional here. Or not. Actually, this is the way we're supposed to be going. Sorry about that. Alright, so if we head the other direction there, so if we do head straight through this door, this will lead us to an optional. I can never remember which doors are which. Alright, so here we are. So there's our optional, explore the source of the squeaks. So around the first corner, as you see, minus the rebirth, we have a bunch of rats, which would definitely explain those squeaks they're asking us to investigate. Those guys are kind of hurting a little bit. Alright, and luckily for us, our hireling does have restoration, so we are able to restore those damaged stats, although there is a shrine around the corner there that can do that as well. Alright, so once we get deep enough in, we see a couple more big rats. And then one teeny tiny little kobold. And kobold is actually the cause, I guess. Well, not the cause, but it's the rats that are the cause, but he is, I guess, their master? And once destroyed, we do have this one random little chest here. Alright. Now we proceed to that other path and head to that artifact. Alright. So you can choose to use the shrines here. As you can see, we do have some breakables here. You can also choose to leave them for now, as we do come right back past. However, those are the last ones that we need for our ransack as well. So just make sure to get them, whether it be before or after we go to this artifact room. Alright. So the artifact there is on the pedestal. Now, one thing I do want to point out is every now and then, so you got to gather the party in this big giant circle. Every now and then, it will teleport you to a stuck spot, such as behind here, and it won't actually let you get out. If that is the case, just type /stuck and hit enter. It will prompt you here. Just hit yes, and what it'll do, it'll teleport you to the last non-stuck location that you had, and then you'll be able to just attempt to port again. Now, I've never had a situation where it's ported twice to one of these stuck spots, but I mean, ultimately it can happen. I've never had a situation like that. So now at this point, we approach these. As you notice, we are ginormous now. The doors are kind of looking at normal size, and the levers are now teeny tiny. Now here's what I like. If we try to use the lever, it just breaks because we're too big. The way we got to go through is we actually just shoot the doors, and that's how we get through. Now all these guys that were big earlier now look like normal size. A little bit bigger though still. And then we got the normal size kobolds, which are now just teeny tiny little guys. And I love that mechanic. Even the remnants look so much bigger here. There's our shrines there. And this is where we would go back and grab those breakables. If we hadn't, as well as that other optional this direction if you hadn't yet done that. So just like before, we just go through and hit the wall rather than trying to go through there. Now, as you see, all those boulders that they were rolling, we can't actually sneak past anymore. What we can do is shoot the wall to the side of it. Don't worry if you don't have like true sight. As long as you hit the wall, it will break open there for you. Just with the sight, it does give you like sight bonus. And I like this. Even some of the kobolds are like, nope, not gonna do it. Alright, now we're back to the water. Unfortunately, because of our size, we cannot swim through these traps. But if you just run through, it's not that big of a deal. If they do hit, it does hurt a little bit, but I mean, ultimately, not that big of a deal. And I mean, not like you have much of a choice. Now, one thing they were thinking about is if you were thinking, because we're essentially proceeding to the beginning of the quest, using about like a dimension door. If we look at our buffs, we actually have a dimensional anchor, which negates the ability to use D-door and teleport as well. Alright, so at this point here, it looks like they've gone ahead and reactivated these traps. However, the traps no longer really hurt in your larger form, so you don't necessarily got to worry too much. I don't like that because they've reactivated, you can't actually go back and re-disable these traps. Even if you hadn't disabled them previous, it still doesn't let you disable them for the first time. And that's it. We come to this room here, kill the big bad boss,
Dropping his prize as he
walk a little bit further and talk to our friend here,
and then
and we hand over the artifact. As you can see, a real nice amount of experience for the amount of time it took. And it also gives us a chest of loot that can have some named items. So I was able to get the dagger, the cursed shard. As you can see, kind of interesting. The weapon is enchanted with diverse curses. Crit hits can cause, blindness, exhaustion, curse, or enervation. Basically, just really weaken him. As well as it has bleeding, cold iron, and we even got a mythic 2 on that. So, and again, there are other ones. Now from here, as you see, the portal, they do make a jab like, oh, we're way too big to use the portal. We'll just have to sit here and wait out the effects. And then you would ask, like, what happens if the effects never run out? And they just kind of like, oh, well, I guess you're stuck here. But, of course, we can just recall out. And, yeah, that's the end of a kind of a big deal. So, thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one, all.